What do we learn about God in the life of Jesus? How many imperial rules did Jesus lay down when he was here? How many people did Jesus seek to punish, to stone, to imprison, to persecute for breaking God's law? Do we really learn about God in the life of Jesus, or have we rejected the truth that Jesus revealed and replaced it with a Roman dictator lie that teaches that Jesus came to be punished by his Father? In the synagogue at Nazareth, he said, "The Spirit of the Lord is upon me, because he has anointed me to preach the gospel to the poor. He has sent me to heal the brokenhearted, to preach deliverance to the captives, and recovering of sight to the blind, to set at liberty those that are bruised, to preach the acceptable year of the Lord." This was the work he commissioned his disciples to do. You are the lights to the world. He said, "Let your light shine before men, that they may see your good works and glorify the Father which is in heaven." Do we shed the light about God when we teach the penal substitutionary view? Yes?
What about when he cleansed the temple?
What about that?
Wasn't he punishing the tax collectors?
Who was he punishing?
The Pharisees and the tax collectors.
So do you, if you read the accounts there, because he took a whip and cracked it?
I don't know.
Is that what we think? Do we think he was whipping the people?
He threw their tables over. He was.
Yes, he did turn their tables over for sure, because he wanted to draw attention. Boom! Stop the chaos. Stop the clutter. And he cracks the whip. Why?
Get attention.
Well, what's being traded what's being marketed here? Cattle. And what are the cattle trained to respond to?
Whips.
The whip. He brought the cattle into order to drive them out, not the people. Okay? If you read the context, however he conducted himself, and I want you to imagine this on your Sabbath morning, Sunday morning, wherever you go to church, in the middle of church service, somebody stands up, turns over the pulpit and the communion table, and it conducts themselves in such a way that all the elders of the church flee, but none of the children run away. If you read the context, the children stayed. They were not frightened. Can you kind of demonstrate that for us? You get my point here, right? His conduct was not the act of an aggressive judicial magistrate seeking to inflict punishment. It was and I believe it was kind of like what happened when they came to arrest him, a little bit of divinity shown through his humanity, with a little bit of truth and love radiating, and those whose hearts prefer selfishness and lies were completely uncomfortable in his presence, and they ran out of his presence, just like the Jews, when Moses comes off the mountain and sees Moses' reflected face, they can't stand it, and they beg for him to cover it. But the children, the innocents, they are not offended. They're drawn to love and truth. They love this, and they're drawn to him. So I don't see this as an imperialism at all. I see it as his setting right the object lesson that was being misrepresented, because they were making it appear that God functions like they do. And what they were doing is not just exchanging, they were cheating. They were fraudulently misrepresenting. They were ripping people off with marked up exchange rates. And I just got back from Australia, and I can tell you what that feels like. Okay? Seriously, I looked on the internet, and the exchange rate for the U.S. dollar to the Australian dollar was 71 cents, meaning that you get 71 Australian cents for, you get 71 U.S. cents for one of the Australian dollars. But when I went to the exchange table to exchange it, they offered me 60 cents, 60 U.S. cents for one of their dollars. And I said, what happened to that 11 cents per dollar? Okay? And in addition to that, there's this service fee. And I said, no thanks. Okay, no thanks. I'm not doing that. So, but this is what they were doing. It's huge markups to cheat people out of their money. And the way they did that also is they would only accept the temple coin to buy the sacrificial animal. They wouldn't, if you came with a Roman coin, you couldn't buy the sacrificial animal. You had to first exchange it for the temple coin, which was marked up at inflated rates. And so they made it appear that God was this being who cheats people in order for them to do something to merit salvation from him, which was paganism. And so he said, this whole system, my Father's house will not be called a house of thieves.
It's logical to think he was also signaling the end of that system, because he was going to die shortly.
Ellen White says in Desire of Ages, you go read it, she said he was announcing his mission, that this was a metaphor. Remember, the whole temple is metaphor. It's object lesson for the cleansing of the spirit temple. And he was announcing his mission to cleanse the spirit temple from all the things that defile us, the selfishness, the lust, the passions. And so in doing that, these things that were infecting this temple, he's saying, I'm going to come and cleanse the temple. So it was an object lesson saying his mission to cleanse the spirit temple. So it wasn't punishment, it was teaching. Back to the quote.